Hi, I'm American pop artist Perry Milou. I'm in my studio here in Ewing, New Jersey, and I'm working on a pop piece for a client that just moved to Los Angeles, California. And this is like a Philly wham pop urban landscape, and there's actually going to be Keith Haring-esque soccer players across the bottom. He was a professional soccer player at the University of Pennsylvania, not professional, collegiate soccer player. So he called me, and this is an example of a commissioned urban landscape that I work on. I've been painting professionally for 30 years, and my website is perrymilou.com. That's PERRYMILOU.com. And I'm inspired by pretty much everything. Famous places, people, things. And this is just a daily moment in the daily life of Perry Milou. So this is a piece called The Revolution. It's a very conceptual pop painting that I created inspired by what was taking place, I believe now 2-3 years ago in Egypt when Mubarak was getting pushed out of power. There was a young man named Wael Ghonim who was a Google employee, and this is the right side of his face, and if you look up Wael Ghonim you might recognize his face. I think it's Ghomin, Ghonim. And he was some sort of media or social media account expert for Google, and he is the young man that was organizing all the protests in the center square of Egypt, which was catching fire on CNN and syndicated on all the the cable networks. They actually fired him or took him in extradited him in the jail for a couple of days or something, and he got in a little bit of trouble because the government didn't want him causing all this rift, and then he was released or something. I think he's fine now. But if you go back and you look at that, you can find out the information of it, and it was an amazing time which was happening, and actually spurred a lot of this stuff in the Middle East from a couple of years ago. And then Mubarak was taken into custody, I think, and they put him in prison or something. I think he might have passed away since then. But back to the painting. The other side of the face is George Washington from the $1 bill, and it's also the Sphinx, because that's one of the symbols of Egypt is the Sphinx, the sarcophagi, and the flag in the background is the Egyptian colors. But what ties the whole thing together is what he did, what he inspired through social media, was by putting everything on Facebook and Twitter. So at the bottom of the painting, respectively on the left and the right, you see the Facebook icon and the Twitter icon. So it represents how social media really affected real life international politics and what was going on in the world, and changing the culture of peace and the world all at once. Whether or not peace is the end result of it, I'm not sure. But the reason I combine the faces is it's Egypt, or Egypt wanting to be like us in the West. And that's the combination of the faces. It's a fusion portrait. And I think it's something that's very, very cool. If you keep that on there, I'll get another piece that I could talk about real quickly. I'll switch them out. And this is a piece that I call the Stevie Jobsenstein. And it's another fusion painting, and it encompasses half a face of Albert Einstein and half a face of Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, both incredibly brilliant minds, savants in the contemporary world. Steve Jobs was very, very inspired by Albert Einstein. But Albert Einstein never lived to see the Apple computer and the brand that Steve Jobs created. So hence the Ticonderoga pencil, which is almost like a dying elephant in today's society, but it still exists, because that was the tool, at least the most advanced media tool that Einstein could use at the time, was the Ticonderoga pencil. And this is the fusion of the two, Stevie Jobsenstein. I'd like to get this licensed with Apple as a mouse pad or an iPhone cover or something. So if somebody wants to make it happen for me, call me up and we'll partner on it.